1983, India became the second country to win the Cricket World Cup. The 1983 World Cup winning Indian cricket team, led by Sri Kapil Dev, set a benchmark for future cricketers in India. The same year, Indians witnessed the birth of an automotive icon that went ahead to set the benchmark of performance motorcycling in India.
India's first and only twin-cylinder, twin-carburetor, two-stroke motorcycle equipped with a 6-speed gearbox. And it was the fastest production motorcycle in India at that time, with an estimated top speed of 150 km per hour. Rajdoot Yamaha 350.
Hello and welcome to Bose Garage.
So in today's video, we would like to share some interesting facts regarding the Yamaha 350 or the Rajdoot 350. This is not actually a review video. We would like to share some technical information which will be helpful for present RD owners as well as future RD owners. We all know that the Yamaha 350 was launched as the Rajdoot 350 in India back in 1983. Even though the Yamaha RD350 was a successful motorcycle everywhere else in the world, it couldn't make that success story in India also.
Yeah.
In a way, it was a failure model in India. The reasons were many. First thing, normal Indian rider was not ready to accept this kind of performance which the RD gave, because it was too performing for an average Indian rider
For the time.
for that time. And this bike was expensive to buy. It was
It
more
was expensive than the then expensive Bullet 350.
Even Bullet, not a normal person could not afford that time. And then parts availability was scarce. Parts were expensive.
Yeah.
The local spare parts dealers and all never used to stock parts for the RD350.
Also, I think the RD being a technologically advanced motorcycle, the local mechanics didn't know how to repair it itself.
Yes, they had troubles repairing it also.
Yeah.
And we are coming to that point.
Yeah.
And fuel efficiency, that was the biggest matter of concern at that time. Rajdoot 350 claimed to have a 38 kilometers per liter fuel efficiency as per the brochures. But we never found anyone who actually got that kind of a fuel efficiency.
Yeah.
The best we have heard is 25-26 kilometers per liter. And towards the mid 80s, lot of 100cc bikes came which were more fuel efficient and easy to maintain. And one came from the Yamaha stable itself. The Yamaha RX100. The Yamaha RX100 was actually kind of a villain in the life of RD350, because once the RX100 was launched, everybody wanted the RX100.
Yeah.
Because first, it looked like a mini RD.
Yeah.
And
actually, everyone loved the RD design itself, but no one wanted it.
No one wanted it. No one could afford it.
No one could afford it actually.
So once the RX100 was out, okay, it looks like an RD.
Yeah.
Performance is not as much as an RD, but
it returns good fuel economy.
Yes, good fuel economy.
Yeah.
The performance was good for its size.
And CDI
capacitor discharge ignition system, trouble free. And of course, it was much better than all the other 100cc motorcycles.
Like the ad says, ahead of the hundreds.
And there was one thing in the Rajdoot 350 that irritated even the hardcore RD enthusiast. That was the stock CB points ignition system, which was a troublesome ignition system.
Yeah, in a way.
The reasons were, first thing, for timing and tuning an RD350, of course, to correct the timing, there were two methods.
Yeah.
Either you need to use a timing light or you have to use a dial gauge. That time, for a normal mechanic, a local mechanic, he may not be able to afford a dial gauge or a timing light.
Even the timing light, I think it was a new tool to India in the 80s.
In that 80s, and even the authorized service center may not have it.
Yeah.
So it was not affordable for a normal mechanic. So he had to use his brains to do the timing. But that is not always possible with the RD350.
I think that too created a hoax that the timing on the RD is kind of a
rocket science.
A rocket science or something.
Yes. But in reality it is not. If you have the right tools and if you follow the right procedures, it's not that difficult.
Never.
Because we already did a video on how to do the timing and tuning of the RD350.
Yeah.
Actually, this is an intro video for that. We have used some alternative spare parts. We would like to share that information with you as well.
Yeah.
We know that on the Indian RD, they use the Kokusan Dengi AR3345 ignition system,
Yeah.
CB points. And it was totally different from the original Japanese or the US spec RD350. We cannot interchange the parts.
Yeah.
You cannot use the USRD points or the points cam on the
No,
Indian RD.
not on the Indian RD.
Not on the Indian RD. So earlier genuine parts is already out of question. Then there were Daiichi points which were available, original Japan points. Later that also stopped production.
Later came, I think, Delhi made Daiichi ones.
Delhi made Daiichi ones were
Yeah.
there. That also is not much available these days, I believe.
Yeah.
So we also started searching for the points because we were in need of the points. We managed to find an aftermarket cam because that is not that difficult to manufacture.
Yeah, a good machinist might make that.
Yes, a good lathe machinist
Yeah.
can make it.
Yeah.
So during that search, we found out that the same ignition systems were used by multiple other bikes also,
Multiple other Japanese bikes.
Japanese bikes. One which we identified is another Japanese motorcycle which was launched in the year 1971-1972. That was the Suzuki GT250. The Suzuki GT250 uses the exact same Kokusan Dengi AR3345 ignition system. So the parts, if you can find for the Suzuki GT250, you can directly use it on the Indian RD.
Yeah.
The points are the same, the points cam is the same,
The generator, the magnet,
everything is the
Even
same.
the ignition coils, I think.
Ignition coils are the
Yeah.
same. Only one difference was that for certain models of the GT250, the statoric part was different.
Oh, okay.
Because instead of Kokusan Dengi, they used Denso also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the points are the same. The cam also is the same.
Yeah.
So that is an alternative. We will share with you the part numbers. They are still listed in some of the sites abroad, like in eBay or some other websites which sells parts.
Okay.
So you can find those genuine parts,
Yeah.
and it makes your life easier.
Yeah.
But still, we will say it's better to switch to a good CDI system because capacitor discharge ignition systems are much more reliable.
Yeah.
And now there are so many well engineered kits,
Of course.
specifically built for the
Built
RD.
for the RD.
In the late 90s, people used to use mix and match CDI kits.
Like Shogun
Shogun
series,
or RX135, Scooty Pep.
Scooty Pep, yeah.
Yeah.
But those are running.
Yeah, the bike used to run well.
Yeah.
But people used to complain that, okay, the stock points ignition gave better performance.
Yeah.
So people switched over to CDI.
CDI.
If you want to stick on to the points ignition system, this is an alternative.
Yeah.
And then ignition coil. We can use the one from the Bullet.
Bullet.
The
The
old
old bottle type.
bottle type.
Cast iron engine
Yes.
ones.
And recently we watched another YouTube channel.
Yeah. Mehta Bardi motor.
Mehda Bardi motor.
Yeah.
He is using the new Bullet UC
UC engine bullet type ignition coils, which are direct fit on
direct
the
fit on the chassis. Yes.
That's a great thing.
Yes. So that is also a possibility.
Yeah.
Thanks to Mehda.
Shout out to Mehta Bardi motor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then is the rectifier. We used to use the
Bullet 350.
Bullet 350 normal type rectifier, but that won't last for the kind of
Yeah.
output from the RD generator.
Yeah.
So another better option is the Piaggio Ape
Ape
3-wheeler rectifier. It's a direct fit.
Yeah. And they are reasonably priced also, I think.
Yeah. Around
Reasonable
1000
price,
or
available.
1200 rupees.
Yeah.
Genuine part is
Genuine
available.
parts are available.
And there are 2-3 types like 4-wire, 6-wire and 8-wire.
We need what? 4-wire?
We need only the 4-wire
Only
type.
the 4-wire.
Even if you buy the 8-wire type, we can still use it on the RD.
Okay.
The other wires you can just tape it off. We
Forget
don't
it.
need it. And it will run fine. So that's another alternative.
Okay.
So the rest of the engine parts, everything is available abroad.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who import it. We
Yeah.
can also import it on our own. So that's not an issue.
Yeah.
Then there are a lot of people who complain that the RD350 is not a reliable bike. But we don't totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Even with the CB points ignition system, if you maintain it properly, it is a reliable bike. There are few personalities who are actually, what do you say, a proof.
Yeah, they
living-
proved actually.
They proved it actually.
Yeah.
Two persons, Mr. Sunil Tawani and Mr. Aniruddha Guha, who are employees of Bhilai Steel Plant, back in 1984, They went on a world tour.
On their brand new
Yamaha
RD3.
350.
Yeah.
Silver Yamaha 350. HRW 7028. They took around 11 months. They covered around 50,000 kilometers. And they visited 24 countries
Yeah.
before reaching back to India with a stock Yamaha 350.
Yeah.
They did face some issues on the way, of course, due to fatigue.
Yeah.
And also maybe due to the 2T pump failure, they had an engine seizure. But they managed to find the spares and they successfully completed
The ride.
Yes.
That's the thing.
And they have compiled all those information with photographs in a
Yeah.
website worldwide on wheels.
Yeah.
Do give it a look. There are a lot of interesting information
Yes.
and it's really inspiring also. And for all the 80s and 90s kids, we all have a passion for rallying when we were a kid. Okay, so that time there was a couple,
Mr. Jagat Nanjappa
and
and
Mrs. Anida
Anida
Nanjappa. So they used to race on so many bikes, and one of the bike they used is the RD350 in a stock form,
Yeah.
and they won so many prizes with it.
Actually, in the rally, RD needed no mods or anything.
Yes,
because
because
there was nothing to
the
beat it.
competitors at that time needed some mods,
Yeah.
but the RD350 in the stock avatar
No.
itself was very good, and that was shown in a movie,
Yeah.
Hero movie,
Hero
of
from 1983.
1983. Actually, that movie is interesting because it shows
Yeah,
the
the-
factory of Rajdoot 350. Lot of brand new RDs.
It was kind of an ad for the RD350 because it was launched in 1983.
Yes, that movie was kind of an
Yeah.
ad for the Rajdoot 350
Yeah.
because there were so many times the bike was mentioned,
Yeah.
the factory was shown. So
But
many.
it's a good thing.
It's a good thing because now we can go back for a reference for
Yeah.
how a stock bike looks like. It's good.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So another thing which we would like to share is whenever we talk about Indian RD, everybody raises a question. Is that an HT or an LT?
Yeah.
Is it high torque or low torque? So what is the story behind this? So when Rajdoot launched the Rajdoot 350 in India, of course the specs of the US RD was detuned to meet the Indian fuel quality, to meet the fuel efficiency requirements,
Indian roads. Yeah.
and also maybe to reduce the price. They already removed the front disc brakes. So the 39 bhp output was reduced to 30.5 bhp, and the torque figures were also slightly low. But later on, towards the mid 80s, sometime in 85, they further detuned the engine.
Yeah.
Okay,
In favor of more fuel efficiency.
more fuel efficiency. So basically, what they did is they made some changes to the head, the cylinder ports, the carburetors, the
Of course.
carburetor jets were changed.
And also change the silencer.
Yes, the exhaust system was
exhaust and-
changed.
yeah.
It looks similar, but there were some slight differences in the inner
The
baffles.
sound also.
The sound also. The
I
earlier
think
version,
the later ones sounded better.
it depends. It's a personal choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the earlier ones had a typical growl.
Uh-huh.
The later ones had a humming note.
Yeah.
So there are
And-
fans for both of them.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we can't say which sounds better.
Yeah.
So Rajdoot called the final detuned version or that particular engine as LETI, LETI engines, or low end torque induction. So later on, people started to make it short and started calling it low torque.
Low torque.
Low
LT or low torque.
Yeah.
So naturally the older ones
became high torque.
But if
But
you
I-
if you check the figures, it's not the case.
Yes, because yes, if you check at the BHP figures, the earlier ones used to develop 30.5 BHP at 6,750 RPM. But the later ones, the LETI ones,
Yeah.
26.5 BHP at around 6,000 RPM.
RPM.
So it started developing its peak power at a
At
lower,
a lower
RPM.
RPM.
Now coming to the torque figures, people feel that okay, high torque has better torque, low torque is, as the name suggests, lower
Lower.
torque, but that's not the case. Both of them have similar torque figures. The HT ones 3.3 kilogram meter at 6,500 RPM.
Yeah. And
LT ones 3.1 kilogram meter at 5,500 RPM.
so
it was
almost the
developing
same torque at a lower RPM.
So the low end torque was better.
Better.
That's why it's LETI.
Yeah.
So that was a misconception that LT is always underpowered. That's not the
Never.
case. Both of them have their own fun to ride.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to share in this video. And we had made another 2 videos on how to service the carburetor as well as to time the engine for the RD350. How to correct the timing. Of course, you need to have a timing light and some general tools. So please do watch those videos as well. And thank you for watching Bose Garage. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel. Please like our videos. And please let us know your suggestions or your queries through comments, or you can email us at bosegaragesnow@gmail.com. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
2011, 28 years after their first victory, the Indian cricket team, now led by MS Dhoni, won the World Cup again. Indian cricket fans took a bow to MS Dhoni and the Indian cricket team. But even after 40 years, there's one and only one benchmark for performance motorcycling in India.